What's the difference between managing and leading? Leading is when the persons who are working in a team, when they are important. Leading is about communication. It's about talking about things that are good and that can be improved. So feedback is very important when somebody is leading. With managing, it's more that the task is really important. Everybody gets some tasks, and the most important thing is to get those tasks done. So some typical actions, it's controlling, it's more kind of telling people what to do. It's not about discussing things. When you think of your boss, would you say it's more about managing, or is it about leading your team? And in case that you're a boss, would you say that you are more managing, or are you more leading? I don't know if there's really, let's say, a good and bad, because tasks have to be done. And at the same time, it's so important to also take care of the people who are working at the company. When I started working some years ago, it was really just about tasks. I was told what I had to do, and then when the task was completed, I showed it my boss, and he, if something wasn't okay, then he told me. But feedback, that wasn't something that was common at these times. In those times of change and of transformation, in my opinion, it's really important to look at the employees as well. Before I'll go more into detail, I would like to have a closer look on those management by techniques. Maybe you've already heard of management by objectives. Maybe it's a process that's quite common in your company. I remember when I was head of marketing sales control, once a year I sat together with my boss, and he had told me that I should think about goals that I wanted to have for the year ahead. And he also told me which goals he had that I, as his direct employee, should fulfill during the course of the year. And so we had this agreement about the goals for the year ahead. When the year was completed, we sat together again and we were talking about the goals. Had I achieved them or not? And we also had a percentage to which I had received those goals, something 50, 70, 100, 120, 150%. And according to the achievement of my goals, I would get a bonus. The interesting thing was, so for example, if I just take an achievement of 100%, then I would have got 1,000 euro, just as an example to make it clear. And for example, if I had fulfilled the goals only, let's say, to about 80%, then my bonus would only be 700 euro. In case that I had more than fulfilled the goals, so let's say maybe 120%, then I received a bonus of 1,300 euro. So this was made to really motivate employees to at least fulfill their goals, and even better, to do more than to just fulfill the goals. And I remember when we were talking about these goals and the rate of achievement, it wasn't about if I liked those things, if I had something which could have been better in the company. It was really just talking about these goals and percentage to which I had achieved them. So when it's about leading, then the boss is also interested in the employee as a person, in that sense that he wants to know if there's something that he as a boss can improve. So feedback can be a very good thing to do, to give feedback not only from a boss to the employee, but also from the employee to the boss, what can be improved. And without communicating, it's really more like, I would say, more like a one-way street. So that's what we call this top-down process. The goals were made from the top level, and then they were communicated on each level that was below. And so everybody had to contribute to this goal. And sometimes people didn't even know what really the main goal of the company was. They sometimes only knew their own goals for the year. In those times, it wasn't common at all to have, let's say, a more private talk. Even if sometimes there was, for example, an event or a seminar that had been attended together, it was tried to keep distance. And at the same time, in the evening, sometimes it was tried to connect, but it was, I always felt, for me, it always felt a little bit weird, because somehow we should connect, and on the other hand, the connection should not be too close. It should not be too much talk about private life. That's what I mean with too close. I also remember that when I was working in an import company where we imported toys from Japan, when we had an event in the evening, sometimes we were singing and laughing, doing karaoke, and had a lot of fun. And so sometimes the Japanese colleagues approached us, and we were calling each other by the first name. And the next day, everything was back to business. So they were Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, and I was once again Mrs. And for me, it was a little bit, let's say, even strange to make this distinction. So what do you think is the best way to lead a team or to manage it? Because sometimes my experience is that even though there is this distinction between managing and leading, I have the impression that very often it's talked about to manage something, and it's not only those tasks that I've mentioned or these duties. And sometimes people talk about leadership, and with leadership, they do not only mean to lead a team, but also how to manage it. And so very often there isn't this concrete distinction. Do you also know other management by techniques? There are two that I find quite common here. One is management by delegation, and it means that already not one task, but similar tasks are delegated to an employee. So he or she already has a little bit more of freedom how to fulfill these tasks or when to fulfill them. And the third one is management by exception. This gives even more freedom to employees, because they only have to ask their managers or leaders in case that a certain, for example, a certain amount of money will be spent. So, for example, if this person is working in the purchasing department, that when it's over, let's say, an amount of 5,000 euro, then the boss had to be asked whether this could be purchased or not. I had been looking for more management by techniques in literature, and some of them, I found them really funny. So what I found was, for example, management by walking around. And it wasn't described whether it was really talking to employees or just having a look on what he or she was doing. There are more of these techniques, of which sometimes I didn't know whether they should be taken seriously or not. I really would love to hear about your experience. I also would love to hear, what do you think? If your company has been using these techniques, should they continue? Or do we need something else in these times of transformation? In the next episode, in my next stream, I'll be talking about a new idea of a certain, yeah, it's difficult to call it technique. I'll leave it with the word. I'll talk about an idea, and if you know me quite well, maybe you already have an idea what this can be. I'm very happy to hear from you, and you can always reach out to me so that we can have a chat. I'm always very interested in your comments to hear or to read what are your ideas, maybe also what are your difficulties or what are your challenges. You can also send me a direct message, and I'll be very happy to support you and to answer you. I wish you a great day wherever you are, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much for watching and have a great time. Take care. Bye.